Welcome to the T-Pac Arcade. Today's game is Section Z for the Nintendo Entertainment System, or Section Z for all my Canadian friends out there. In this 1987 shoot-'em-up from Capcom, an alien space station under the control of L-Brain threatens the Earth, and Captain Commando is on a mission to fly around shooting lasers at him, as any self-respecting space ranger should. So the gameplay here is a bit difficult to explain. The level design takes after standard side-scrolling space shooters, but it's broken into various bite-sized sections within a big interconnected maze. There are 3 main areas with 20 sections each. That's 60 total. And if you're saying to yourself, wait a minute, I thought this was Section Z, and last time I checked, there aren't 60 letters in the alphabet. And you'd be correct, but Section Z is a cooler title than Section 60, and everybody likes the letter Z. I mean, it's edgy and looks aggressive and has 2 different English pronunciations, like the resident anti-hero of the alphabet. So each section is filled with enemy waves to blast through, and 2 exits to choose from at the end. Now, there's nothing I fear more than a non-linear game, but since the branching paths here are a neat binary option, I was able to map everything out and find my way through the maze. Not that my maps weren't a fair bit messy and convoluted in the end, but they did the job. Each area initially gives you access to just the first half of its sections, with the rest blocked by 1 or 2 red exits. Once you find your way to the generator mid-bosses, you can take them out to open the exits and explore the back half sections. Here you'll eventually get to the main area bosses, the robot arrowhead thing in section 19, the robot balloon thing in section 39, and ultimately L-Brain in section 59, which looks less like a brain and more like some kind of one-eyed bug with big ol' Sasquatch claws. The kind of thing you'd want to squish under a boot and go, ugh, if it wasn't 3 times your size and a certified evil alien overlord. And while there aren't any certified squishin' boots in this game, there are some power-ups to help you along the way. Enemies will occasionally drop speed-ups or energy tanks to restore your health, which increases from a max of 20 units to 99 units as you defeat bosses. Getting hit by a bullet siphons off 1 unit, and running into an enemy or getting crushed by scrolling terrain sends you back to the start of the section and siphons off 5 units. Once you hit 0, you've got to start all over from section 1, 20, or 40, depending on which third of the game you're currently in. But luckily, all unlocked exits remain unlocked. Section Z is like that overzealous do-gooder who keeps holding the door open for a crowd of people for so long that he's lost his family in the shuffle and missed his flight to some other country that says Z and died of old age before finishing that novel he's been working on for the last decade. There are also these little pulsing meatballs with equipment upgrades that you can collect and activate with the select button. There's a short-range 3-way shot, a wave beam, and a shield. And you're gonna need that shield against some of the generator mid-bosses, because they like to send out streams of spiky bullets that chase you around and don't leave enough room for you to thread between them. I know I can be quick to praise NES graphics because I just love the 8-bit aesthetic, but Section Z honestly has some of my favorite visuals on the whole system. The section designs have this fantastic consistency that keeps you feeling like you're traveling through the same space fortress, while at the same time evolving the background themes to hold your interest, from factory environments to caves to neon alien biomes. And the neat mechanical bookends of exit transporters and generator cores really tie it all together. Section Z even has what might possibly be the coolest looking playable character in the history of the NES. I mean, it's a space jetpack warrior in candy-colored robot armor wielding some kind of massive laser crossbow. Section Z's chiptunes can be a bit hit or miss though. Some of them are atmospheric and tense, like the boss battle and secret room themes, but a few section songs sound more like chill sci-fi elevator music. Pretty much all the sound effects are great though. I love the detonating enemy noises, and even the damage sound when you get hit by a stray bullet. It's all essentially just variations of "bee-whip," and I wouldn't have it any other way. The most novel aspect of this game, aside from the whole maze-based shoot-'em-up gimmick, is how you fire left with the left action button and right with the right action button. Considering that most shooters fix your gun forward or require you to turn and face whatever direction you're aiming in, this is a neat mechanic that really pairs well with the frantic pace of certain sections. And it keeps things from getting frustrating when enemies fly in from behind. Nice try, Spacefish, but I've got eyes in the back of my head and a gun in the back of my head. Or back. Or whatever, you get the idea. The only problem with this mechanic is that it makes it really easy to accidentally set off special shell weapons when you press both action buttons simultaneously while turning around. That activates a missile that deploys when you hover over it. Sounds great in theory, but using it costs you 5 health points, and it's probably gonna miss the incoming aliens anyway. Definitely not worth it. Apparently there are some more useful shell weapons like bombs, but I could never figure out how to activate them, and I never needed them anyway, so I guess it really doesn't matter. And the dual button bi-directional shot is a net positive in any case. Thanks to mechanics like these, and especially because of the infinite continues it offers, Section Z isn't too bad in the difficulty department. I used Turbo Fire to help me get through the game, but aside from that, I actually managed to beat the whole thing legit. To be fair, I did set a couple of save states, but only to pause the game between sessions without leaving it running overnight. I'm a stickler about energy efficiency. I mean, I don't even keep my microwave or my reading lamp plugged in unless I'm using them. My favorite part of Section Z is the bite-sized section format. It makes repeating the same levels feel less like a chore when you blaze through them so quickly, and the whole maze aspect is much more approachable as a result. If I could could change one thing here, I'd keep all necessary progression within the boundaries of the regular stage exits. See, I'm glad I did a bit of preliminary research on this game before diving into it, because just mapping out the branching paths isn't enough to see you through to the end. There are actually a few hidden portals within select sections that warp you to bonus rooms with health restores and power-ups and stuff, but apparently one of them actually warps you to the generator mid-boss in the last third of the game. I got caught in a never-ending loop between sections 53 and 55 until I found that portal in 54, and I'm pretty sure I would have gone crazy if a helpful internet review hadn't tipped me off to look for it. I get that secret exits are par for the course in exploration-based video games, but I got lost in a one-floor library last weekend, so it should be no surprise that this kind of thing doesn't go over well with me. Overall, Section Z managed to do the impossible. Take a non-linear game and make me love it. I can't say I'm itching to go back through that whole map-making process again, but I sure am glad I powered through it at least once. And the experience was as great as Captain Commando's space armor, beep-weep sound effects, and the letter Z, or Z.